Okay, so this is a video on how to use Tracker. So Tracker is a software you can find on your laptop by clicking the Windows key and typing Tracker. What Tracker does is it uses a video input to be able to extract information such as velocity, um, displacement, acceleration, among other bits and pieces. Surprisingly powerful when you can present information different ways, or you can export the information to Excel to further analyze. So the first thing you need to do is obviously to record a video. So in my, I have recorded a very brief and crude video on pendulum. So it's basically a pendulum going back and forth. Okay, what I recommend you do is actually record this in highest definition, or actually record that as slow motion, which means you're going to record a much higher frame rate. Okay, so to import this, press open and then navigate to the folder where the video occurs. So then you go open. Now keep in mind that as you're doing video tracking, this is going to be quite tedious and it's quite computationally intensive. So do allow a bit of time to do this. Okay, all right. So just walk through some of the key things. This one here is how many keyframes I want to do at a time. So if I now press, this is every 5 frames. Okay, so I'm reading every 5 frames. That's not going to be as accurate to say every 1 frame. This is just going to take a lot longer. Okay, but it's going to be more accurate. So one thing I can do is I can actually drag this to where the experiment started. So this part here, I haven't released yet. So hang on. This point here is where the experiment started. Okay, and this is when the experiment finished. We're just going to leave that again for now. 3 things you need to find right now. First of all is the coordinate system. So then Tracker knows exactly how your point mass is moving. So to do that, press this button here called show or hide coordinates. Okay, so this is not going to be a very good coordinate because we should really align this center point to be where the the hinge is, or where the pendulum um, where it's holding the string. Now before we do that, we also need to align so the angle is correct. Now I've done this one before, so I know it's 6.5. Okay, and at 6.5, oh hang on, 6.5 also means that you see how it's basically flat towards the cupboard. Okay, so now I put it up here, that becomes my coordinate system. Second thing I need to define is what we call calibration stick. So if I go to create and I go to calibration tools, I put calibration stick. So when you do an experiment, I suggest that you have a ruler behind so you know how big things are. I didn't, which I should have. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to assume this point to this point here is 50 centimeters or 0.5 meters. Right? In order to calibrate, I hold down Shift. The Shift button turns the cursor into a little square. So I press one corner, press the other corner, and I type in 0.5. Okay, so the program now knows that this is roughly 0.5. For you, it'll be easiest if you define the length of the string over here. Okay, so we know how long things are. All right, now third thing we need to define is actually the mass itself. So when I press create, point mass. Okay, so now feel free to say change it to pendulum so we know what's going on. Press enter. All right, so if I hold down shift now, okay, and click on the mass, okay, it actually allows, and as you hold down shift, it actually moves the number of frames as you have desired before. So I'm gonna keep clicking here until, now on the side here, as the data being collected, you can start seeing a curve happening, but don't get too bogged down by that yet, although it does have some significance in a moment. Now my clicking not perfect, so for you, in order to get a good video, I will actually suggest you put like a white spot or somewhere that you know on Tracker you can click on fairly accurately. Okay, so So far, now the pendulum is coming back. It's actually gaining velocity, hence it's getting more blurry, and it's also coming, it's moving a lot more each time. All right, so now down to revolution. I'm going to stop right now. If you find this a little bit tedious or takes a bit long, feel free to increase the frame rate. So then it's jumping a bit more each time. Now your increments are not going to be as accurate, but over the long run, it's not too bad. Okay, so all right, so all right. All right, now let's have a look at the data collected. Okay, so first of all, right now it's displaying x versus time. So as the time progresses, the x, which is the horizontal component, actually, well, it's moving back and forth, which is as expected. Okay, if you click on here, you can actually change that to say velocity magnitude. Okay, and so this is velocity magnitude versus time, and I'm just gonna drop my increment back to 1, so then it's a little bit clearer. Okay, so click this to make it bigger. My clicking is not perfect, as you can see. There's a little bit of jitters around, but it should be clear of a few things. First of all, the peak over here to peak over here, and the peak over here and peak over here is how long one period is. So this is roughly about, this point here is about 0.75, 0.77, and from here to here is completing one revolution completely. So that's about 1.7. So 0.7 to point or 1.8 is about 1.1, which means it takes about 1.1 second to complete one period. Okay, so that's how we can deduce the period from doing. Now, if you take a few more average, so 1, 2, 3, so 3.4 take 0.8 is 2.8. 2.8 divided by 3 is roughly 0.93 or so. You gotta get a greater accuracy because you're averaging out for more periods. Now, other things we can do is we don't always have to look at the velocity. We can actually look at the positional angle. Now, this is actually pretty good because what this is saying is the angle. Okay, going back here, the angle from deviation from the 90 degrees here. Okay, the angle deviation of 90 degrees is also periodic. That's quite good. You can actually plot the angle versus, say, velocity. And you're gonna get something like this. Oh, actually, I change angle here, velocity over here. What this is saying is that at 90, basically a 90-degree angle, or minus 90 because pointing down, you're gonna have consistently having the highest velocity. At low angles, you're consistently having low velocity, and that's consistent with what we understand about potential energy and kinetic energy exchange. Okay, so what I recommend for you to do is track this carefully, and when you need to analyze, it will be better to select all, Control A to select all. Okay, copy selected cell, and you go to Excel. Then you can actually put them in. Then you can do more about how to display and so on. Okay, so hope happy tracking, and any questions, let me know.